that when you've completed the course, you will feel competent in giving a massage. Most appropriate for you to always remember that touch is the most important aspect as far as your massage is concerned. The technique is a mode through which you deliver the touch that is most effective in dealing with the client's needs. Now, as you prepare to give the massage, be sure you've got your oil, alcohol, towels, everything, and you're prepared so that when you go in to your client, you don't have to spend time in confusion trying to get organized. When you go to your client, the first thing you have to do is to introduce yourself and to get acquainted with them. Is this the first time they have received a massage? Are there any particular areas of their body that they are aware of at the moment that they would like for you to spend more time on? Now, we're not always aware of where our tensions are. We're aware of where our soreness is and our stresses. So the first thing after the draping is to spend some time helping the person become aware of their body. Notice their shoulders, and then lift at the base of the neck and at the midway on the neck, and rock the head, and then move over to the left arm and take hold of the forearm with your left hand. With your right hand, pull the shoulder forward, press it back, slide down to the elbow, bring the elbow out, press the elbow in, press the palm to the shoulder and the palm to the table, and then circumduct the wrist. Stay in touch, move around, touching one shoulder, then the other shoulder. Take hold of the forearm with your right hand, flex the elbow, pull the shoulder forward with your left hand, press it back, slide down to the elbow, bring it out, press it in, palm to shoulder, palm to table, circumduct the wrist. Moving to the rib cage, rock the rib cage, rock the waist, rock the hips, moving to the right thigh, rock the thigh, lift the knee, rock the leg, and circumduct the ankle. In actual practice, you'd ask the person how this feels when you feel certain resistances or weight or this sort of a thing. Now moving around to the left foot, up to the left thigh, rock the thigh, and lift the knee, rock the leg, and then move down and circumduct the ankle. At this time, since you've done the survey, line up the lower part of the body, move around to the right side, and put a bolster under the knees, put it all the way under the table drape. And then we'll do a little energy check, and for you who are into energy, this may be meaningful. For the rest of you, just act like going from the feet up over the torso, and going off the shoulder. And then ask the person how this felt as you line up the upper part of the body so that the body is lined up straight on the table. And this would be the time to ask your client where do they want you to spend the most time as far as giving the massage. Now the massage is divided up into 10 portions, so we'll start out on the head, throat, face, and scalp. And so we'll start out with 3 long strokes going up the throat, over the face, and off the hair. A second long stroke going up the throat, over the face, and over the scalp, and off the hair. And a third long stroke going up the throat, over the face, onto the scalp, and off the hair. Then for the compression move, we'll start out on the mylohyoid, digital friction to the mylohyoid, sweeping back toward the angle of the mandible, moving then to the masseter, and doing digital friction to the masseter, moving your body, keeping a rhythm, keeping a dance, moving to the zygomaticus, and then to the procerus, and to the corrugator, and to the frontalis, to the temporalis, and to the ears. Now place your right hand on the right side of the head with the thumb in front of the ear, fingers point toward the table, and rock the head to the left, then roll it to the right. Move all the way around on the far side of the table, and with your left hand, Then begin to work with the little finger going right along the sagittal suture, doing digital friction, working over the left side of the top of the head, working all the way back to the occipital bone. Then come back and start right at the temple and do digital friction, starting at the hairline, going around just above the ear, superior to the ear, and then around to the back, the posterior part of the head behind the ear, working all the way down to the occipital bone. Place your left hand now with the thumb in front of the ear, fingers pointed toward the table. Roll the head now over into your left hand, and with your right hand, work on the right side of the top of the head with your little finger going right along the sagittal suture, going all the way back to the base of the occipital bone. Come back starting at the hairline, right at the temple, and again going around the right side of the top of the right side of the head, going around the ear and going down to the base of the occipital bone. When you've completed this, this completes all of the compression moves, so roll the head back into neutral and do 2 sets of alternative strokes, starting at the base of the throat, stroking up the throat, little sweeping moves coming over the face, onto the scalp, off the hair. Second set coming up the throat, over the face, onto the scalp, over the hair, and then do a reuniting stroke just like the first long stroke, up the throat, over the face, onto the hair. This completes the first portion. Now we'll move to the second portion as far as the massage is concerned. So put a couple of drops of oil in your hand, spread the oil out in your hands, and wipe the excess off on the table sheet. Now, do the oiling stroke going over the shoulders, around to the base of the neck, then stroke up the back of the neck, up to the occipital bone. Draw your hands around right at the base of the occipital bone to the ears, and that completes the oiling stroke. To do the long strokes, we'll drop down on our knees, at least on one knee, to get ourselves in a good position to do this. But first of all, watch this as you look through a glass and see how the hands work, getting into there, and then rolling, bringing the elbows out, and then rolling the forearms and drawing the fingers right up the back of the neck, up to the occipital bone, and then you lean back and bring your fingers around the base of the occipital bone to the ears. We'll move the person down so you can see this better. Now you don't reach way down, just to the base of the neck, just where you feel that knob back there. And you bring your elbows out, press up, stroke your fingers up the back of the neck to the base of the occipital bone, and lean back, and then draw your pads of your fingers around the base of the occipital bone. Here we go now. We're lifting the base of the neck, and then bringing our elbows out, and then rolling our forearms and causing our fingers to go up the back of the neck. Notice how the chin moves. Then lean back, straighten your arms out, and draw your finger pads around the base of the occipital bone. You do not support the head with your hand, just the pads of your fingers to the ear. Now slide one hand down, the other hand down, do the lift. Bring your elbows out, roll your forearms, and cause the fingers to go up the back of the neck, all the way up to the base of the occipital bone. Lean back, bring your pads around the base of the skull, to the mastoid process, to the ears. And one more time, go down, lift up, bring your elbows out, rotate your forearms. That causes your fingers to come up the back of the neck, to the base of the occipital bone. Lean back, bring your fingers around the base of the occipital bone, holding the head just with the pads of your fingers to the ears. That completes 3 long strokes. Now we'll stand up and start the CA movements. So again, rock the head to the left and then roll it into your right hand, but just move to the corner of the table, reach down between the scapula and the spine, and start doing a spiral digital friction type of maneuver, coming right up toward the mastoid process right behind the ear. When you reach just behind the ear, then do 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. Now place your left hand with the thumb in front of the ear and roll the head over into your left hand. Reach down with your right hand just between the scapula and the spine and do digital friction, a spiral maneuver, moving up toward the mastoid process just behind the ear. Now 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. The third CA we will move to will be the semispinalis. So watch this now. As you hold the head in your right hand, you'll be working with your left hand. Notice how this kneading takes place here. I compare it to, like, chewing on a bone. It's like grinding away just right on the nape of the neck. So now, in real life, you will have rolled the head over into the right hand, reach under with your left hand to the base of the neck and get in right into the nape of the neck and just kind of chew away on that semispinalis muscle, moving up to its insertion on the occipital bone. Change hands so you'll have a balanced experience for the muscle, and do this same sort of compression move with your right hand, holding the head with your left, and you can use your hips to support your elbows while you're doing this work if they want a lot of pressure. Now when you've completed that, do the 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. O-S-C-A, we've done CA, and now we'll do a reuniting stroke starting at the base of the neck, stroking up the back of the neck. Rotate your arms so that your fingers travel right up the base to the base of the skull and come right around to the ears. That completes R, O-S-C-A-R, Oscar T. T really stands for a cross fiber, and most times it looks like twisting. Here on the neck is a little different. See how the fingers just go across the fibers. It's a good feeling. You can even do this to yourself and get a sense of it. Placing your hands behind your neck like that, pulling across the back of your neck, just to the sides. Don't come around to the front, just to the sides. So now do the T, and use good pressure on this, standing up, lifting up, using your whole body to do the move. Oscar T, stretch. Now we're going to get in and stretch all of these muscles we've been working on. So we take the person's head, bend our knees, get down low, lift with our whole body, and get feedback from the person as to how far they want us to stretch these muscles. When they tell us to stop, hold it for a couple, 2 or 3 breaths, and then rest the head back down on the table. Oscar T, stretch, rocking. And the rocking move follows the same pattern as the oiling move, so starting at the sternum, going out over the shoulders, coming around to the base of the neck, then start the rocking move. Rocking the head, rocking the neck, and as you come up to the base of the occipital bone, come around to the ears, come off at the ears. Now reach over to the left shoulder and put the oil in your hand and prepare to start to work now on the left arm. Put like a half a teaspoonful of oil in your hands, spread the oil out in your hands, and then starting on the sternum and on the spine, coming out over the shoulder and coming down the arm, spreading the oil out, finger pads, fingers, ball of hand, palm of hand, heel of hand, all the way down. Now take hold of the forearm with your left hand, stroke up and over the shoulder and around the back side of it with your right hand. Swing the arm out into your right hand and stroke up the inside, up and onto the pectoralis muscle with your left hand. And then hold the arm with your left hand and stroke up with your right hand. Make this a real dance movement. Now then, watch this as we're going to do the compression move, petrissage, a grasping to the upper trapezius. Really, we're covering more than that, but that's just a good muscle to locate it. Notice how it's a grasping move starting out at the area between the scapula and the spine and working out to the shoulder. Now watch it again. You press your hand under there with your forearm right next to their ear, and then you bring your elbow around perpendicular to their body, and then you grasp. It's like grabbing the tissue. Just grabbing. Don't slide your fingers. Just grab. And then you would do 2 alternative strokes. So going up, forearm right next to the head, slide your hand under between the scapula and spine, bring the elbow around perpendicular to the body, and then grab and grab and grab. And your thumb should just come right on top of the shoulder, just right to the top. When you've done that, then do 2 alternative strokes, once, twice, slide over to the deltoid, kneading to the deltoid, petrissage to the deltoid. And if you want to put a lot of pressure into this, you can get your body, your hip, get your elbow against your hip and work, and then do 2 alternative strokes. Bring the arm out, place your left hand at the base of the sternum with your right hand starting on the insertion of the pectoralis muscle, moving in toward the sternum, doing a circular move, pulling toward the armpit, because this is the way the lymphatics and superficial veins flow. Working all the way to the sternum, and then do 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. Moving to the biceps and triceps. Petrissage to the biceps and triceps. Keep your thumbs up in the air, working with the heel of your thumb and fingers, pushing toward the heart, moving back toward the elbow, and then do 2 alternative strokes after you've gotten to the elbow, once, twice. Now, place the elbow right next to the body, down on the table, and then really get in and work with your thumbs and fingers, working on the flexors and extensors. Again, starting at the elbow, pushing toward the heart, but moving backwards, getting up on the wrist and doing digital friction on the wrist, and then doing 2 alternative strokes, once, twice. Turn the hand palm down toward the table and do a pulling movement to the back of the hand, spreading the tissue out. Then support the hand with one hand, stroke with the other, once, twice. Flip the hand backwards, working with your thumbs, doing digital friction to the palm of the hand. And then turn around and turn the hand around and support the hand with your right hand where you stroke with the knuckles of your left hand, and make the knuckles of your left hand fit right into the hand. Now moving to the fingers, to the thumb, 2 cross fibers and a stroke, second finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke, third finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. Change hands, 4th finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. Moving to the 5th finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. And that completes CA. Now we will do the reuniting, going up and twisting down. So you move right up with your right hand, going up and over the shoulder and around, and then holding the upper arm, move your left hand up into the armpit, your right hand on top of the shoulder, doing twisting, coming down. Twisting Indian burn style down onto the forearm. Now when we do the joint movement, the stretch, we'll move right back up the same way. So take hold of the arm, hold the upper arm with your right hand, move your left hand in the armpit, and move the shoulder around in such a way that it moves the whole body, the upper, at least the shoulder girdle, one way and then the other way. Oscar T stretch, rocking, lay the arm down and then rock the arm. All the way down to the hand. When you've completed the rocking movement, Then you will reach up with one hand, touch the shoulder, reach over, touch the other shoulder. And then starting at the sternum and the spine, spread the oil all the way down the arm, because that's where the arm starts, is at sternum and spine, all the way down to the hand. Now take hold of the forearm with your right hand. With your left hand, go up and over the shoulder and around and down the back side of the arm. And you'll swing the arm out into your left hand, and with your right hand, go up the inside, up and onto the pectoralis, and down and around and under the arm. Swing the arm back into your right hand. With your left hand up to the shoulder, now move up. Reach under with your left hand right down in between the scapula and spine. Move your elbow around perpendicular to the body, and then grasp the upper trapezius once, twice, 3, 4 times, however many, and then do 2 alternative strokes, once, twice. Slide over to the deltoid. Begin the petrissage to the deltoid, kneading the deltoid, fingers pointed back toward the table, and then do 2 alternative strokes to the deltoid. Bring the arm out and around so that it stretches out the pectoralis muscle. Put your right hand on the base of the sternum with your left hand, starting at the insertion and doing a circular move in such a way that it draws the lymph and the venous blood toward the armpit, going all the way to the sternum. And then do 2 alternative strokes, once, twice, moving out to the biceps and triceps, keeping the tips of your thumbs up in the air, working, pressing toward the heart, moving backwards toward the elbow, and then do 2 alternative strokes, once, twice. Now, place the elbow next to the body and begin the compression move to the flexors and extensors, really getting in there and shredding the muscles, using your thumbs and fingers, pressing toward the heart, backing up toward the wrist, doing digital friction when you get to the wrist, and then do 2 alternative strokes. Now, turn the hand palm down toward the table and do the pulling movement to the back of the hand. And when you completed that, support the hand with one hand and stroke it with the other. Now flip the hand backwards and working with the thumbs doing digital friction to the palm of the hand. When you've completed that, you'll turn the hand down, palm up, hold it with your left hand and stroke it with the knuckles of your right hand. Make your knuckles really fit and then move to the fingers. Cross fiber to the thumb, once, twice, long stroke, then to the second finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. To the third finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. Change hands. To the fourth finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. To the fifth finger, 3 cross fibers and a stroke. Now, do the reuniting going up. That completes CA, so reunite up and then twist coming down. So move up to the shoulder, support the arm, and begin the twisting movement, starting on the shoulder, twisting over the upper arm, over the elbow, down onto the lower arm. And when you've completed this, then you'll reach up and support the arm again, taking the upper arm with your left hand, putting your right hand right into the armpit, putting your left hand on top of the shoulder, and circumducting the shoulder so that you really move the body around. Really move the body. Now go the other way and see the whole up torso move as you do this movement. Oscar T stretch rocking. Lay the arm down and do the rocking. Now this completes the 4th portion, where we'll move down to the next portion, to the right leg. Moving to the 6th portion, the right leg, go down, lift the drape up, lay the drape in between the legs, and then pick the knee up with both hands. Then reach down with your left hand and do a preliminary drape, pulling most of the drape down on the table, right up under the knee. Then bring the foot up rested on the bolster with your right hand under the knee, your left hand above. Dental floss the drape right into the inguinal area. Press the drape under the hip. Support the knee as you straighten the leg out. Go up to the hip and roll the drape in such a way as it will stay in place. Now put the oil in your hand. Spread the oil out in your hand and spread the oil down the leg, starting with the fingertips first, and then press your fingers against the leg, and then the ball of your hand, the palm of your hand, the heel of your hand, so you'll spread the oil all the way down to the foot. Now, when you get down to the foot, put your right foot pointed right at third foot. Put your hands in V formation, bend your elbows, keep them bent till you get to the knee, straighten your back out. Now, straighten your arms out and go right up over the ASIS point, around and out and down to the table. Then let your right hand come to the inside of the thigh, the left hand to the outside, all the way down. Turn your body, stroke the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, and then hands in V formation, going back up. Straighten your elbows out as you get to the knee, going up over the ASIS point, around and down to the table. Right hand comes to the inside, left hand stays to the outside. Spread your fingers out, covering the leg, coming down. Turn your body when you stroke the sole of the foot. Then put your hands back into V formation, elbows bent, up to the knee, arms straight as you go on up to the ASIS point. Around and out, and let your hands start moving back down. Then move up and begin the petrissage to the vastus lateralis. You're really starting on the tensor fascia lata and the vastus lateralis, and your body is moving in a figure 8. Figure 8 movement with your body, working from your feet, keeping your wrist as straight as possible, pressing with the palms of your hands. Fingers are doing very little work, all the way down to the knee. Now, straighten up a little bit, move a little closer to the table, and begin the petrissage, going back up, working over the rectus femoris, particularly, but also working with your thumb over the vastus lateralis and your fingers over the vastus medialis. As you get up toward the ASIS point, work with smaller grasp of the tissue. When you reach to the bone, then slide down along the edge of the drape down to the adductors and the gracilis and begin working back down. Now here, your body just moves back and forth, grasping the tissue, no real sliding taking place, just grasping. And you work past the knee, because some of these muscles do go past the knee, and then you turn your back toward your person and pull up the inside of the thigh and turn and push up the outside of the thigh. And then we'll move to the knee and do friction, the C compression movement across the patellar tendon, and compression, friction across the patellar ligament, and then 2 alternative strokes circling around the patella. Moving to the lower leg, stabilize the leg with the foot really pointing kind of up in the air, and do cross fiber to the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and the peroneus muscles. Just 90 degrees here, just 1/4 of the way around the leg. Not all the way to the table, just 1/4 of the way, all the way down to the ankle, and then do 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. Moving to the ankle, compression, digital friction, going around the ends of the tibia and the fibula, onto the tarsals, and then 2 alternative strokes. Moving to the top of the foot, pulling to the top of the foot, dorsal surface of the foot, just like you did to the back of the hand. 2 alternative strokes. Now this completes CA to the leg, so do a long stroke, reuniting, going up, and move right up and let your hands go up and around and start down, and then walk up and start doing the twisting move. doing diagonal moves first, and then directly across the thigh, hand opposed to hand, till you get to the knee. When you get to the knee, do it Indian burn style. Open your hands up, doing the twisting, going right down over the ankle and over the foot. Oscar T stretch. So now, lift the knee up, flex the knee, place the foot on the bolster, then press your hand on the knee and your other hand under the foot and press the knee toward the chest. And a little bit more toward the armpit, and get from the person how far they want you to go. And when you reach that point, stop, hold it for a couple, 2 or 3 breaths, then put the foot down on the bolster, put your hand under the knee so you support the knee as you straighten the leg out. Oscar T stretch, rocking, then reach up to the hip and do the rocking move. Rocking all the way down onto the foot, and then you will cover up this leg, stay in touch, and move over to the other leg. When you move over to the other leg, you will lift the drape up and lay the drape inside between the legs. Then, lifting the knee up with both hands, reach under with your right hand and pull most of the drape up to do the preliminary drape. Then place the foot on the bolster. Put your left hand under the knee, your right hand above the thigh, dental floss the drape into the inguinal area, tuck it under the hip, support the knee as you straighten the leg back out, turn the drape under so it will stay in place, put the oil in your hand and you'll spread the oil out, starting down, using fingertips first, and then fingers, and then ball of your hand, palm of your hand, heel of your hand, spreading the oil all the way down. When you get down there, place your left foot toward their foot. Get your hands in V formation, put your right foot up alongside the table, and do the long stroke up, going up and over the ASIS point, out to the table, and then let your left hand come to the inside, your right hand to the outside, all the way down onto the foot. Going back up, elbows bent, then straighten them out on the thigh, up and around and over the ASIS point. Left hand to the inside, right hand to the outside. Coming down, turn your body, stroke the sole of the foot, going back up. Over the knee, onto the thigh, up and over the ASIS point and around. And as if you were going to come down again, only in this instance, move up now and begin the petrissage again to the vastus lateralis. Moving your body in a figure 8, putting most of the pressure into the palm of your hands, keeping your wrist reasonably straight, avoiding wrinkles as much as possible, coming all the way down to the patella, to the knee, then step in a little closer to the table, going back up, working with the palms over the vastus intermedius, and then more superficial to that is the rectus femoris. Your fingers are on the vastus medialis, thumbs on the vastus lateralis, kneading the tissue up to the ASIS point. When you reach to there, let your hands slide right along the drape down to the adductors. And then when you're doing the work to the adductors, just move your body back and forth, like a shuttle on a sewing machine, back and forth, back and forth. Just grasping, not really sliding your hands, working past the knee, and then turn your body backwards to your person, pull up the inside of the thigh, and then turn around facing them and stroke up the outside of the thigh, and move to the knee to start the friction movement to the patellar tendon. Friction to the patellar tendon, and then move to do friction to the patellar ligament, just below the patella, inferior to the patella. Then 2 circular strokes around, those are the alternative strokes. Then move to the lower leg. Stabilize the foot with your left hand, going cross fiber with the heel of your right hand, just 1/4 of the way around the leg. Tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, peroneus muscles, all the way down to the ankle. 2 alternative strokes. Once, twice. Moving to the ankle, doing the digital friction around the ankle, the ends of the tibia and the fibula, on and around over the tarsals, and then 2 alternative strokes, circles around the same area where you have done the digital friction. To the top of the foot, doing the compression, the fulling movement to the top of the foot like you did it to the back of the hand. Yeah. Supporting the foot with your left hand, stroking with your right hand, once, twice, and that completes CA. So now it's the reuniting stroke all the way up the leg. Go up and over the ASIS point and around and down just like you were going to make a long stroke, and then move right up and start doing the twisting, working diagonally just parallel to the drape, and then move into a real transverse stroke as you move on to the thigh, and easy around the knee. Open your hands up on the lower leg all the way over the ankle and down and onto the foot. Oscar T, stretch. You will flex the knee, lifting the knee with your right hand. Set the foot onto the bolster. Then put your right hand on the knee and your left hand under the foot. Press the knee up toward the chest, more toward the armpit. Get feedback as to how far they want you to press. When they tell you to stop, hold it for a couple, 2 or 3 breaths. Then support the knee as you bring the foot back down on the bolster, and then as you straighten the leg out. Oscar T stretch rocking, go up to the thigh and begin the rocking movement. Onto the lower leg, onto the foot. Now, we've done all the portions to the front side, so we will expose the other leg and do the full body strokes. First, remove the bolster, then expose the other leg, whichever first. With the legs exposed, going up your left side, going up, pressing, good pressure, and as you approach the body drape, just lift your fingers up and keep them up so that you can just slide your hands right along over the body drape onto the shoulders and around and down the arms. If the arms were above the head, this would be the time to pull the arms down to the side of the body. Now going up the right side, again, full body stroke. Lift your fingers up as you come to the body drape. Slide right over the body drape, right up onto the shoulders and down the arms. That's 2 full strokes to that part. Now the half stroke will be go up to the person's head, starting at the sternum, just like you did the oiling stroke and like you did the rocking, starting at the sternum, out and over the shoulders and around and under the shoulders. Let your fingers meet at the base of the neck, come up the back of the neck and around the base of the occipital bone to the ears, and take your hands off at the ears. And that completes the work to the front side of the body. Now, cover up the legs and straighten the body drape out so that we can have the person roll over. And the way you'll do this is straighten the drape out, uncover the feet, have the arms out, and you'll pull the drape away from you so that your thighs can hold the table drape in place, and then think of making a little pup tent for the person to keep the person covered up while they roll over under the pup tent. Okay, now pull on them with your hands so they'll know which way to roll. Hold the drape in place and have them to roll over. Now check with them as to whether they want any bolstering under their ankles, sometimes even under the pelvis, sometimes under the chest. They'll want bolstering, and so you want them to be comfortable. Straighten the drape out, and then you'll be ready to go down, and we'll start working on the back of the right leg. So lay the drape in between the legs. Then you will take hold of the leg with your left hand and lift it up, and with your right hand pull the drape under the thigh up, right up into the inguinal area. Then roll the drape up in such a way as to expose the gluteal muscles, and you begin to work here. Now, so put the oil in your hands, rest your hand on the, right up on the hip, put the oil in your hand, spread the oil out in your hands, and spread it out, then down the leg. And turn your body as you stroke the sole of the foot. Now stroking the sole of the foot, now going up, hands in V formation, up onto the knees, straighten the arms out on the thigh, up and over the gluteals, and around and out and down to the table, coming around with the left hand going along the gluteal fold, down the leg then, stroking the sole of the foot, hands in V formation, elbows bent, going up over the knees, straighten the arms out, up and on to the gluteal muscles, around and out and down to the table. Left hand follows the gluteal fold, right hand to the outside, coming down, turn your body, stroke the sole of the foot. Going back up, hands in V formation, elbows bent, straighten your arms out on the thigh, up and on to the gluteal muscles, out and around and down to the table. Coming back down. Now move up though, and put your right hand on their back, and with your left forearm, work in doing a cross fiber to the gluteus medius and to the more anterior fibers of the gluteus maximus. Turning your forearm and working now across the gluteus maximus fibers as well as the hip rotators. And then do 2 alternative strokes diagonally from the greater trochanter up toward the sacrum. Moving to the thigh, take hold of the leg with your left hand, flex the knee and press the foot over the other leg, and then with the heel of your right hand, do a cross fiber to the fascia lata. Ask about the pressure. This can be a very sensitive part of the body. Cross fiber working with the heel of your hand all the way down onto the knee. Then when you've completed that, straighten the leg out and begin the petrissage to the hamstrings. And your thumbs are working on the biceps femoris or femoris, and your fingers are working to the semitendinosus and semimembranosus, working all the way up to the ischial tuberosity. When you get up to the gluteal fold, then reach to the inside and again do the adductors, just moving back and forth, very little slipping going on as far as your hands. It's almost like you take a step with your hands, then another step with your hands. You take a step and a grasp and a step and a grasp. Pull up the inside of the thigh, push up the outside of the thigh. Now move down to the origin of the gastrocnemius, right on the back of the knee here. You're working over the plantaris and popliteal muscles, and then on to the gastrocnemius, doing the petrissage, again working more with the palms of your hands, working down onto the soleus, doing petrissage, moving your body in the figure 8 position, all the way down, doing then sort of a pitching movement to the Achilles tendon, all the way down onto the heel, the calcaneus, 2 alternative strokes, and then do a fulling movement to the sole of the foot, alternating your fingers, one hand, the other hand, and you will support the foot when you do the alternative strokes with your right hand and stroke with the knuckles of your left hand, and with even the elbow of your left arm against your hip. Now to the toes. 2 cross fibers and a stroke to the big toe, 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the second toe, 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the third toe. Change hands, 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the 4th toe, and 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the 5th toe. This completes CA. Lay the leg down, do the reuniting, going up just like a long stroke. Go up and over the hip and around as if you were going to come down. Then walk up and with the heels of your hands do the friction to the gluteal muscles. And then when you move past the gluteal fold, with your hands work hand opposed to hand over the thigh, and then on down onto the knee. Open your hands up, twisting to the leg and onto the foot. Oscar T. Stretch. Now, put your right hand under the knee, take hold of the leg with your left hand, and press the heel toward the hip. Get feedback as to how much of a stretch they want.
Rocking the thigh, rocking the leg,
all the way down onto the foot. Now you will cover up this leg and stay in touch and move around to the other leg. When you move around to the other leg, lay the
drape in between the legs.
Take hold of the leg with your right hand, that is around the ankle, and lift it up and reach in with your left hand and pull the drape up under the thigh. Straighten the leg out, roll the drape into place, exposing the gluteal muscles. Rest your hands on the glutes and put the oil in your hand. Spread the oil out in your hands. Spread the oil starting up at the waist, all the way over the gluteal muscles, on down onto the thigh, onto the lower leg, and onto the sole of the foot, turning your body. Now stroke the sole of the foot. Have your right foot pointed toward their foot. Start the stroke up, hands in V formation, elbows bent, straighten them out at the thigh, up and over the gluteal muscles, around. Let your right hand follow the gluteal fold, coming down. Turn your body as you stroke the sole of the foot. Hands in V formation, elbows bent, back straight, straighten your arms out, up and over the gluteal muscles, round and out. Right hand follows the gluteal fold. Fingers are spread out, moving down, turning your body, stroking the sole of the foot. Hands going back up, V formation, elbows bent, straighten them out at the knee. Up, onto the gluteal muscles, around and out, just as if you were going to come down again. But now, move up, put your left hand on the back, with your right forearm, do a friction movement to the gluteus medius muscles, a little bit onto the gluteus maximus, then turn your arm diagonally to the hip, working cross fiber to the gluteus maximus and to the hip rotators underneath. 2 alternative strokes from the greater trochanter toward the sacrum in a diagonal direction. Now, reach down, take hold of the leg with your right hand, flex the knee, press the foot over across the other leg, and with the heel of your left hand, do the friction to the fascia lata. Find out from the person how much pressure they want. This is not a particularly relaxing move, but it's very effective if the person is tight in their legs. Working all the way down to the knee. When you reach to the knee, straighten out the legs, and then begin the petrissage to the hamstrings, the biceps femoris, and the semitendinosus and semimembranosus, working back up to the ischial tuberosity, body moving in V formation. Now, when you reach up to the gluteal fold, reach to the adductors, and move your body just back and forth, and it's like you grasp, and then you release and take a step, and grasp and release and take a step, and grasp and release and take a step. You don't do any real sliding on these adductors. All the way past the knee, and then turn your back toward your person, pull up the inside of the thigh, turn and face your person, push up the outside of the thigh, and move to the back of the knee, where the origin of the gastrocnemius is located, as well as the popliteal plantaris muscles. Again, petrissage to the gastrocnemius and soleus, moving your body in a figure 8 movement until you get down to the Achilles tendon, and at the Achilles tendon, you move into a pinching movement all the way down to the calcaneus, the heel. Do alternative strokes. Once, twice, lift the foot up and do alternating folding movements to the sole of the foot. And it helps to stand beside the table as you're doing this, using one hand, the other hand. When you've completed the folding, support the foot with your left hand and stroke with the knuckles of your right hand, with your elbow against your hip. Then move to the toes. 2 cross fibers and a stroke to the first toe. 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the second toe, just like on the fingers. 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the third toe. Change hands. 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the fourth toe. And 3 cross fibers and a stroke to the fifth toe. This completes CA. And now we move to R, a reuniting stroke going up the entire leg, just like the long strokes. And you move right up and onto the gluteal muscles and around, just as if you were coming down, but then stop and move right in with the heels of your hands and start doing the cross fiber work to the glutes, and then getting in and doing the twisting to the hamstrings, hand opposed to hand, and then open your hands up and doing the twisting to the gastrocs and the soleus. A little lingo here so you'll know what athletes call these muscles, all the way onto the foot. Feedback from your person as to how far they want you to press. Hold it, and then gently straighten the leg out. Oscar T stretch, rocking. Reach up to the hip and start the rocking move. Rocking over the thigh, onto the leg, and all the way down onto the foot. And when you've done this, then cover up the leg. So you've covered up the leg, then move up to the back. And just as you did on the front, take the body drape and bring it down in one large sweep and then tuck it under, all the way down to the sacrum. Place one hand on the sacrum, put the oil in the hand, spread the oil out in the hand. And then starting at the sacrum, going up and over the shoulders, and around and down the sides, all the way past the crest of the ilium again, pulling up across the gluteus medius and gluteus maximus muscles, up and onto the sacrum, pivot, and then begin the long strokes. Up over the shoulders, around and out, let your fingers come down to the table, past the crest of the ilium, up across the gluteal muscles, up and onto the sacrum, back up the back again. Over the shoulders, around and down the side, down past the crest of the ilium, pull up across the gluteal muscles. Again, up the back, 3 long strokes, over the shoulders, around and down the sides, past the crest of the ilium, up across the gluteal muscles, onto the sacrum. Now then, rest your right hand on the hip, and with the heel of your left hand, get in and do a friction to the sacral area. And work on this till it gets warm. When it gets warm, then start out with your left hand traveling down along the waist all the way down to the table. When it reaches to the table, begin a palmar friction to the side of the right side of the torso. And it's a wipe it on, wipe it off kind of movement, all the way up to the shoulder. And when you reach to the shoulder, you have more muscle to work with, so do pet massage over the upper trapezius and all of the other muscles located in the area. And as you start back down, the right side of the back, go back to the palmar friction again, working all the way down to the hips. When you get to the hips, use the fingers of your left hand to feel the spinous processes. With the heel of your right hand, do a friction, a circular guided friction, right up along the spine, a spiral movement, right up between the scapula and the spine, and onto the upper trapezius, and then walk around and do 2 alternative strokes. Then turn and face back down toward the feet. Rest your left hand on the hip with the heel of your right hand. Again, friction to the sacral area. And then as that gets warm, let it slide right along the waist, right above the hip, all the way down to the table. When you reach to the table, do the palmar friction again, working up. Wipe it on, wipe it off until you get up to the shoulder, where you will again get in the petrissage. And your fingers working over the deltoid and the upper trapezius and the supraspinatus. And your thumbs are over the mid-trapezius and the rhomboids. And then you start working back down, doing the palmar friction, working over the latissimus dorsi, back down to the hip. When you reach to the hip, use the fingers of your right hand to feel the spinous processes, the heel of your left hand doing the friction, the spiral movement, going up along the spine, working where this musculature is much thicker than it is over the rib cage. Between the scapula and the spine, and walking around doing 2 alternative strokes, and this will complete the compression and alternative strokes to the back. So then we'll start at the sacrum and do a reuniting stroke just like the long stroke. Only we do it only up to the shoulders. When we reach to the shoulders, we start a twisting movement going down. R up and T down. Twisting going down. Moving your body, bending your knees. Your feet are equal distance from the table, all the way down to the hips. Oscar T stretch. Now this is sort of a segmental stretch, with your hands going in opposite direction on either side of the spine, just stretching segments of the musculature here, working all the way up between the scapula and the spine on either side, and then switch your hands and do the stretches going back down. Segmental stretching. Hands working in opposite directions, all the way back down to the sacrum. Oscar T stretch, rocking. Then reach up to the shoulders and begin the rocking movement at the shoulders. Now when you do the rocking, don't make it just a jiggle. Really find the person's natural rhythm in doing the rocking. When you've rocked all the way down to the hips, this will complete the work to the back. And so we'll take the drape now and drape the back side so we can